Although there is a lot more to Valorant than just honing your aim, losing duels due to missed shots can cause a whole bunch of frustration. Not only that, it's pretty clear that aim is a significant factor to separate good players from the average. So mastering this portion of the game will surely lead to significant improvements regarding your rank and skill. Furthermore, you're going to gain a lot more confidence, which could indirectly allow you to improve much faster by gaining focus and putting more hours into the game. What's up guys, my name is Matt, and today I'm going to be your guide toward improvement. Over the course of this video, I'm going to present you with the only aiming guide you will ever need, directly helping you improve in-game if implemented correctly. Today we're going to go over the fundamentals and slightly more advanced tactics that you may not have thought of when attempting to improve your aim. As you listen to all of the tactics of improving that we mention, feel free to implement as many as you would like to your practice. Not performing one exercise will in no way limit your ability to improve with another. Because of this, you can utilize multiple tactics at once without being concerned about any repercussions. Without further ado, let's get right into the question of the day. Today's question is a pretty interesting one. Do you think Riot should enable players to control their own servers like Overwatch and CSGO? Personally, I think that this implementation would not just be fun, but also beneficial for things like aim training or warming up, since players are often quick to create custom game modes specifically for these purposes. What do you think? Do you also believe that this could make the game more fun? Or would you rather Riot stick to the classic game modes in order to maintain consistency throughout the game? Let us know in the comments down below, and we'll read as many as we can. The first thing that we should talk about regarding aim is obviously sensitivity. With the right sensitivity, your aim is likely to instantly improve significantly. In addition, before discussing how you can find your personal sensitivity, it is valuable to know that high sensitivity should generally be avoided, only because it reduces the control that the player has on their crosshair. With that said, let's get into how you can find the sensitivity that matches you best. First of all, you'll need to start up the in-game practice range. After you've done this, make your way to the bot range and enable practice mode. For those of you that may not be familiar with this mode, practice spawns in stationary bots. As you kill one, another is going to spawn, so you're never going to run out of targets to shoot at. With that out of the way, let's talk about how you can use this mode to determine your sensitivity. You might have noticed that on the dashboard located in the training range, you can change your sensitivity without opening up the menu. As you flick at the bots one by one without giving yourself time to micro-adjust your aim, try to notice where your bullets are going. If you are slightly over-flicking, then lower your sense, whereas if you are under-flicking, higher your sense. Although switching to a new sensitivity is going to take some time to get used to, this strategy will provide you with a good starting sensitivity. One downside to all of this is that you're probably going to have to redevelop your muscle memory, which might cause you to lose some duels shortly after changing your sensitivity. If you want to avoid that, you could just play a few unranked matches before queuing up for comp in order to become comfortable with the new sense. While we're on the subject of muscle memory, let's discuss some fundamentals that could hold you back if not understood properly. First of all, spraying. When wanting to fire rapidly, you will need to control the recoil in the game by directly opposing the recoil pattern created by each individual weapon. Because many fights are won or lost based on split-second decisions, you're going to need to implement spray control into your muscle memory and simply do it without thinking. For those of you who have played CSGO in the past, this may seem fairly simple, only because the recoil pattern is very similar to that of Valorant. For everyone else, however, this could be a significant struggle and an obstacle that you will need to climb over when wanting to improve. To improve your aim, spray control is a necessity to learn. It's often looked at with great importance when watching pro play, and it can seem daunting, but let's go over how you can quickly improve in this area. Rather than simply playing and hoping that you can develop better spray control, make your way back into the practice range. Here you're going to be able to focus on the target and try to control your recoil as best as possible. A good goal to have is being able to shoot the middle two circles on 30 meters. Because there is a random element to the bullets, your recoil can never be perfect. This is why shooting the middle two circles is often as good as it gets. After you've learned to do this, you can practice shooting the moving bots in the practice mode located in the range. The reason you should begin practicing on moving bots rather than stationary ones is because the bots' movement patterns will be sporadic, and they'll force you to control the recoil differently than if they stood still, a skill you'll need when in a real game. Furthermore, after you begin gaining consistency shooting one bot at a time, leave the settings the same and try to develop spray transfers. This is the ability to shoot multiple targets without ceasing fire. Developing this tactic, being the most advanced aiming technique in the game, will take some time. That time will pay off in the long run, however, simply due to the clutch situations it will allow you to win. Before moving on to the next section, we feel like it's important to state the fact that aim is not something that comes overnight. Because of this, it will not be beneficial for you to spend hours upon hours in the practice range trying to develop the aim of a pro player. It's just not gonna happen that way. Practice for an hour max per day and then go play some games. That's going to allow you to gain the most out of your time without burning you out. Moving forward, another fundamental worth implementing into your daily practice regime is flicking. Flicking, or quick mouse adjustments, are solely based off of muscle memory, which is why we chose to talk about this topic after spray control. Although there are several ways to practice this on your own, you're not going to be able to improve very fast without spending time in competitive matches. For those of you who would still like to gain minor improvements throughout the game, either because your aim is already good or you simply wish to develop better habits, there are some good ways to practice flicking. First off, the obvious method of improving in this area is to use the game's implemented flicking practice feature. For those of you who don't know what this is, it is the game mode in the practice range where the box flicker in and out at different speeds depending on the difficulty that you choose. When playing this mode, although all levels are sure to help you, we don't recommend playing on easy. This is because you'll be provided with excessive amounts of time to make adjustments to your aim, which removes the purpose of doing flick training. Furthermore, another method of improving is to walk outside of the practice range and shoot the flying drones in the sky. When shooting these, take one shot at each, quickly flicking to another drone with each successive shot. This is sure to warm you up for your games and help you develop better muscle memory for shooting small targets roughly the size of enemies' heads in game. Our next tip, pre-aiming and jiggle peeking, seems much easier than it actually is. Many people have already heard about this concept, but implementing it is the really difficult part. But if you're a bit confused as to what jiggle peeking and pre-aiming are, let me give you a quick rundown. Both of these concepts have to do with placing your crosshair in the right position when walking around corners. First off, pre-aiming, on defense and offense, consists of lining up your aim with the enemy's head hitbox before they show themselves in order to get the quickest shot possible when they do. Jiggle peeking, on the other hand, can only be implemented when pushing and taking or retaking sites. Jiggle peeking specifically is peeking angles and proceeding to quickly unpeek before the enemy has time to react. This will allow you to gain information about the enemy's location without using up any valuable abilities. Furthermore, this will eliminate the feeling of being lost when pushing sites, because you will know which angles to watch and which are free of enemies. Because of that, you'll be able to aim much better by presuming where the enemies are likely to be. In order to become efficient in both jiggle peeking and pre-aiming, however, you will need to learn maps like the back of your hand. You will need to know where enemies can come from, where they can flank, and where they will hold on defense. For instance, if you're pushing into A on ascent, you may initially think just to get onto site. But if you implement jiggle peeking, you'll learn to first check areas like generator and heaven before making yourself visible to tree room. In order to become better in this area, you have two options. First, the obvious. The more you play, the more you will learn the commonly held areas throughout the map. Secondly, you could watch pro play and try to analyze where the enemies are holding and aiming. By trying to implement their tactics into your gameplay, you will gain much more knowledge much faster. Learning maps is by far the most time-consuming portion of bettering your aim. If this is causing you to become overwhelmed, then don't hesitate to visit ProGuides.com, where you can directly work with one of our coaches to improve your knowledge of the game. If you would like to make the most of your time on the website, you can check out our newly implemented VOD feature. Being fast and effective. Our new VOD feature allows you to provide our coaches with a video that will quickly be analyzed and sent back to you with valuable information that can help you improve. Ultimately, the last thing you can do to improve your aim throughout Valorant is use external aim trainers created for this sole purpose. With so many of these programs, including KOVAKS, AIMLAB, and OSU, it can sometimes feel pretty overwhelming as to what to choose. Don't feel concerned though, because any of these aim trainers will generally have the same outcome. Although we recommend maybe staying away from OSU due to its lack of FPS-like training, even this will lead to some improvement over time. As you begin to become more accustomed to your program of choice, make sure to create a balanced training order. Don't only perform one exercise, instead try to vary your time spent in the program. If you choose to take this route, it is good to look out for sensitivity converters in order to get the most out of your training. Your sensitivity will have to be the exact same as that in-game. If that's not the case, your training in-game will directly counteract your external practice, which will also ruin your muscle memory. Also, before closing this section of the video, it is good to know that you don't necessarily need to pick one of the many training methods. Although monetary constraints may stray you away from getting many programs, feel free to do so if you want to. It's in no way going to hurt you as long as the sensitivity remains consistent. If anything, it will introduce variety into your training that could help you in the long run. Although all of these tactics will take time and dedication to show significant improvement in-game, we hope that they will show you the path to become the best aimer you can possibly be. As you begin to implement some of these methods of practice into your daily regimen, remember that nothing replaces game time. You should never spend more than an hour at a time practicing aim, only because this won't mimic the in-game situations that you're going to face while playing competitive. When you do finally enter competitive matches, directly focus on what you've practiced throughout your time spent outside of matches. By doing that, you'll slowly be able to take your mind off of the aiming tactics and perform just as well. In other words, you will develop necessary muscle memory. As this happens, you are sure to see significant improvement as you duel players throughout your games, leading to the victory of many more matches and likely an increase in rank. With that said, remember to have fun and stay safe. I wish you all great games.